All right, let's dive into ElevenLabs. This is the company that basically single-handedly dragged AI voice generation out of the uncanny valley. We're talking about going from clunky, robotic voices to something, well, something you can't even tell isn't human. It's a technology that's shaking up everything from Hollywood to healthcare, and its growth story? It's one of the wildest in tech right now.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You're trying to get into this amazing foreign film, and then the dubbing kicks in, and it's just awful. Either it's the super flat, monotone voice talking over the actors, or the dubbed voices are so robotic and out of sync that it completely ruins the movie. It just yanks you right out of the experience.
Well, it turns out that exact feeling, that cringe-worthy experience, is what led to a multi-billion-dollar company. Seriously, back in 2022, two guys from Poland, Piotr Domkowski, who was a machine learning engineer over at Google, and Mati Staniszkiewicz, a strategist from Palantir, they just got fed up with the terrible dubbing they'd been listening to their whole lives. And they decided, you know what, we can fix this.
So what was their big idea? The ElevenLabs Solution, crafting the perfect voice. They set out to build a platform that could create AI voices that weren't just realistic, but natural and full of emotion. And what they built is this incredibly powerful suite of tools. You've got voice design, which lets you literally invent brand new synthetic voices from the ground up. Then there's instant voice cloning. This is the crazy one. It can replicate a real person's voice with insane accuracy. And if you don't want to do all that, you can just jump into their voice library and pick from thousands of different voices that other people have already made. So how in the world do they do this? What's the magic behind the curtain? Well, it's all down to their own proprietary deep learning models. Get this, they can clone a voice using just 1 minute of clear audio. And it's not just about copying the words. No, it captures all the little things that make a voice human. You know, the pauses, the little breaths, the emotion. And it can do all of this in over 29 languages. That right there is the secret sauce.
Okay, so when you have a secret sauce that good, what happens next? Well, you get one of the most explosive growth stories in AI. That's what. The business side of this company is honestly just as mind-blowing as the tech itself.
Just take a look at this rocket ship. They kicked things off in January 2023 with a tiny, by tech standards, $2 million pre-seed round. 1 year later, boom, they're a unicorn, valued at $1.1 billion. And it doesn't stop there. By January 2025, that valuation triples to $3.3 billion. I mean, the speed is it's absolutely insane. And look, this isn't just investor hype. This valuation is built on actual, real-world revenue. By the end of 2023, they were already bringing in a solid $25 million in annual recurring revenue, which is great, but that was just the warm-up act. Because then 2024 happened. In just 9 months, their revenue just skyrocketed. We're talking a 260% increase, jumping from $25 million all the way up to $90 million in annual recurring revenue. Yeah, that's the kind of growth that has investors practically kicking down your door. I love this quote from Soccer Research because it perfectly captures what they're trying to do. They're not just making one cool little tool. No, their ambition is way bigger. They're building the entire ecosystem for AI audio. Think about it. The one-stop shop for everything from voiceovers to dubbing to editing long audio files. Basically, becoming for audio what Adobe Creative Cloud is for designers and video editors. And their business model is pretty brilliant, actually. It's a classic freemium play. You can get started for free, which is perfect for hobbyists and individual creators, just to get them hooked. But then, as you need more power and more features, you start moving up the paid plans. And that's how they've managed to land huge enterprise clients. Everyone from big publishers like HarperCollins to, get this, 41% of all Fortune 500 companies.
Okay, but let's take a breath here. Because with this kind of power comes a huge responsibility. And this is the tricky part. The very thing that makes ElevenLabs so amazing, how unbelievably real it sounds, is also what makes it potentially really, really dangerous.
And that really gets to the core tension of this whole thing, right? It's a total double-edged sword. On one side, you have this incredible promise. You're unlocking creativity for millions of people. You can give a voice back to someone who's lost theirs. You can make content accessible to everyone on the planet. But then there's the other side, the peril. We're talking about deepfakes that are so convincing you can't tell the difference, the spread of misinformation, and just all the ways this can be abused. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi problem. It's happening right now. The tech has already been used for some pretty awful stuff. There have been hateful messages created using the cloned voices of celebrities, spread on places like 4chan.
And probably the most famous example, AI-generated robocalls that faked President Biden's voice to try and stop people from voting in a primary election. This is the dark side, and it is very real.
So if you're ElevenLabs, what does this mean for your business? Well, it creates some huge risks. First up, regulatory backlash. If people keep misusing the tech, you can bet governments are going to step in with some heavy-handed rules. Second, you risk ticking off the entire voice actor community, the very people whose talent you're, in a way, replicating. That's a bad look. And finally, you've got the Goliaths. You have to compete with companies like OpenAI, who have basically infinite money and resources to throw at the problem.
But even with all those challenges, ElevenLabs isn't slowing down. Not at all. They're pushing ahead and their vision is getting bigger and bigger. So what's next? What does the future of voice actually look like?
Well, for starters, the potential markets are just enormous. Think about it. The audiobook industry, that's on its way to being a $35 billion market. Healthcare, especially for assistive tech, like helping patients with ALS communicate, that's a $25 billion opportunity. Language learning is another $17 billion. And that's not even counting the endless applications in corporate communications. The pie is huge.
And you better believe ElevenLabs is going after all of it. They're already pushing into brand new territory. They're building conversational AI assistants that can actually do stuff for you across different apps. They're perfecting their AI dubbing tool so it can translate and dub a video while keeping the original speaker's voice. And they're even jumping into music with Eleven Music, a platform to generate music from a text prompt. They're not just a voice company anymore. They're trying to build the entire universe of AI audio. Which brings us back to a really big, kind of scary question. We are literally stepping into a world where any voice, yours, mine, anyone's, living or dead, can be perfectly copied and made to say anything. So what does authenticity even mean anymore? What is the real value of a human voice when it can be so easily replicated? That is the powerful, complicated, and fascinating future that ElevenLabs is building, whether we're ready for it or not.